From the latest on Caribbean cruises to kosher safaris, pilgrimages to Jewish Eastern Europe, and award-winning wines and international cuisine in sun-drenched Tel Aviv. Sit back and enjoy the trip with the travel edition of the Jerusalem Post podcast. Tarum, 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 tarum.
Tarum, 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 tarum.
Drum!
Trom, tom, tom. Sorry, it's actually tarum, not trom.
We flew in with Tarom. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes.
Tarom is the national airline of Romania, and we are sitting at breakfast in a really interesting building in the heart of Bucharest, the capital of Romania.
This is the city centre Novotel Bucharest. As you pull up at the front, you feel like you're pulling up at a grand old theatre, and then behind it is a big glass block.
And the reason you feel like you're pulling up at the theatre is because this was the National Theatre. However, I learnt something, not from anybody at the hotel, but rather from somebody I met in town ahead of us recording, and they said this was actually bombed during the war, and what you see as the frontage is actually a recreation.
Oh, okay. So having arrived overnight, I got to drive through Bucharest. The only other time I drove through Bucharest was on the way out. 4 or 5 years ago?
Oh, when we were here?
Yeah.
Yes.
When we came last time, we just sat in the old city of Bucharest.
And got drunk?
A lot. And it was only on the way out that I suddenly realised there was more to Bucharest than the old city. And having come back through the Arc de Triomphe,
Which funnily enough, looks like the
Arc de Triomphe,
yeah.
You suddenly realise that there's more to Bucharest and how attractive it is at night.
And when we leave the hotel, I think we'll discover that the area we are in is very, very nice, with classical buildings from 100, 200 years ago, really long, wide boulevards.
And a lot of casinos, I saw.
So we are here to enjoy a little bit of the culture, a bit of the Jewish life here, the history, and to really just get a sense of what modern Bucharest is like.
If you go back to episode 50, you'll hear David on his own. I did say see, but apparently with podcasts you can't see unless you keep staring intently at your laptop. I'm so
pleased you corrected yourself on the third take, 'cause I was about to say, Mark, before we get on the road, we should probably have a quiz question.
Do we have a quiz question?
No, we need to invent a quiz question. I'm going to make some music while Mark finds a quiz question.
Thank you, David, for that whole music. Ta-ta, 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 ta.
Yes.
It's a fun with flags question.
Woohoo!
Andorra and Moldova both have very similar flags to Romania, but with a crest in the middle. However, one African country has a flag with the exact same colours, blue, yellow and red, in vertical stripes. Which African country is that?
The answer at the end of the pod.
This is Mark Gordon from the Jerusalem Post podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod, or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com. Just getting my breath back.
From
excessively large buildings.
It's funny because the person that we're about to introduce you to was saying that she was in Dubai last week, and whilst this building that we're in is totally different style to anything in Dubai, it wouldn't feel out of place there just because it is excessively large.
This is the Palace of the Parliament. Everything is on a different scale here. We went past curtains that were 50 foot high, 16 metres high. We went past 4-ton chandeliers. We went through a hall that was 150 metres. Just one hall. Imagine cleaning that and cleaning the carpet in that.
Before we give away too many facts and give nothing for our guide to talk about,
sorry.
Tell us your name and what it is that you do.
My name is Ana Maria Copu. I'm a tour guide in the Parliament of Romania. And that's why daily I guide all the tourists that want to visit the Parliament, or the Romanians and also the ones from any other countries.
You've got 60 seconds to tell us the entire history of this building.
Okay, so this will be a bit difficult starting from now. Okay, so construction started on the 25th of June 1984 when Anca Petrescu, the chief architect, 29 years old by then, with 700 architects and 20,000 workers, labored for 3 shifts a day, 24 hours a day to complete the construction. In 89, when the revolution happened, the building was finished 60%. They restarted the construction process, and in 2004 they finished it. Nowadays it hosts the Parliament of Romania, bicameral, the Chamber of Deputies, and the Senate, and some other very important institutions.
That was less than 60 seconds. You are hired. That was phenomenal.
Well, thank you.
I'll get my coat then.
That's it. We finished the interview.
Tell us some of the statistics about this building, some of the records.
The Parliament of Romania, it's actually the second largest building hosting a parliament in the world. It's the third biggest administrative building in the world. It has a total surface of 365,000 square meters and a total volume of 2,550,000 cubic meters.
Big numbers absolutely mean nothing. This place is enormous. Just walking it is enough exercise. I mean, you said you do probably about 18,000 steps a day within the building. It's not just used as a parliament, though, is it?
No, not exactly. So besides the parliament, there are some very important institutions which function here. So there's the Constitutional Court, the Legislative Council, and the International Conference Center, the one that manages the events and the visits in this building, of course, and there's the administrative staff of both of the chambers.
That would probably explain why walking around today there were 3 Lamborghinis parked in one of the meeting rooms.
Well, this actually I can explain because some spaces from the parliament are actually hosting different kinds of events, from tourism fairs, wedding fairs, New Year's Eve parties. There are many interesting and beautiful events which happen here, and that's why you've seen those halls being arranged today.
On the national pride level, what's the feeling about this building? Because on the one hand, it represents the previous regime that people have got very mixed feelings about, and on the other hand, today it is the centre of the country's democracy.
This I can tell you, I've never lived in the communist period, so I only can refer to other people who actually got to live there, to live in that period, the opinions. The people, the Romanians which come here and actually see the building for the first time, it doesn't matter what we're thinking before. When they are entering the building, they are amazed. Because this building can be seen as a symbol of course, what has been a part of Romania's past, a different kind of political regime and a different kind of lifestyle, but also it can be seen as a production of the country in that period, the labor of so many people. I mean, there were approximately 100,000 people involved in this process.
We went in one of the rooms and it was a little bit chilly. Do you know how much it costs to heat this building in the winter?
Unfortunately, those types of information are not available for the public.
I bet Mark knows.
No, only what I saw on Wikipedia. The figure was somewhere
Well,
around
yes.
$6 million a year just for the heating bill.
Face it, any building of size takes incredible resources, and that is something that, you know, a country has to deal with. If you look at, for example, the Vatican or the Empire State Building, and the Empire State Building maybe is a little bit different because it's a private concern, but any public concern, that has to be factored in at the time of construction. And don't forget, at the time of Ceausescu, there was huge national debt being built up. He had to pay back the United States and other places that they'd borrowed from. And the question was, where do you make the cuts? And he didn't make the cuts in the excesses of this amazing building. He made the cuts, unfortunately, that affected members of the public, which is to some extent why I asked Anna Maria at the start what the feeling is about this building. Do
you have a favourite room here?
Well, actually, yes. It was the first hall that we have seen during our tour. It is called Constantin Alexandru Rossetti because almost all the halls were named after important political or historical figures from Romania's past, especially from the 19th and the 20th century. And that hall is very special. It is a round hall. It has a total of 600 chairs. It is used for conferences and congresses nowadays. And one particular detail, decorational element, which is very, very special, is the biggest chandelier placed there. It is entirely made of crystal. It is made in Mediaș in Romania, and it weighs 5 tons.
Before we let you go on to your next tour group, what does it mean to you to work in this building? I guess it's a privilege, but when you come in each day, what does your heart tell you more than your brain?
My first tour was actually very special because I was so nervous, but then I got to realize how impressive this building is, how beautiful, and the fact that my working place is very special, is a very special one. And even if after 6 months I won't be working here, or in 1 year or 2 years, I'm gonna remember it as a very interesting and beautiful period of my life, as I've got to meet very beautiful people, interesting people, and also to get the chance to share the story of this building.
You also got to meet Mark as well as the beautiful people.
Of course. It was really nice to meet you.
I'm giving David very evil stares. David, should we go racing Lamborghinis up and down the hall?
I've got this need to get fit. I'm really unfit. This place would be phenomenal just to walk around or run around every day. Anna Maria Kopu, you've been a fantastic guide. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. It was really nice meeting you.
Hello and welcome to Bucharest. My name is Stelian Bușduveanu. I'm the deputy mayor of this lovely city, and once again, welcome to Bucharest.
The reason I got you to introduce yourself is there was no way on earth I could pronounce your surname.
I was sure of that. So, you know, we had an old president of Romania that said, if anyone can pronounce your name, then you're a good politician. And a well-known politician.
Absolutely, it's important to have your name known. It's not just your personal name that's important to you, but also the name Bucharest. For a tourist listening to this, what's the first thing that you would like them to imagine in their mind's eye before they even get here?
Imagine we have the Paris close to you. We have Paris city even closer to you than you thought. So here in the Eastern Europe, Romania in Bucharest is the most exciting country and the most exciting city to visit and see all across the months. So you don't have a city that's linked only to June or only to September. You can come to Bucharest and visit any time of the year, and you'll see the sights, the most amazing buildings, and you'll see a new city with public transportation system, with new trams, digitalized, and undergoing a lot of transportation in the last 2 years and in the next 2 years. After this transformation, you'll have a wider city center that has the most important jewel, the old Jewish neighborhood, that has regained its values and its formidable buildings that we had in old times. So what can we say is that we're changing the face of Bucharest regarding the leisure tourism, the cultural tourism, and the business tourism that is very important for us, and it's undergoing transformation with a lot of 5-star hotels, a lot of hotels in the center of the city. And a known thing for Europeans and all people across the earth is the geothermal beauty that we have here in Bucharest. So if you come to Bucharest and see these things and top it off with the nightlife experience and what you can get from the Bucharest, then you'll have a roller coaster of emotions, from culture to tourism to business and everything. So this is what I can tell you about Bucharest. It's everything in a nutshell.
And having done everything in a nutshell, that was 5 of my questions in one go. David and I first came to Bucharest 4 or 5 years ago. When we started out traveling, it was to go and watch football. And we came back from a very sad trip to Monaco, just wanted to drown our sorrows. And we spent 2 days drinking in the old city of Bucharest. This time, I see a city transformed. If you had to give me 2 or 3 highlights of modern Bucharest that would attract tourists from Israel and from our listenership in the wider Jewish community, what would you highlight for Bucharest?
Well, I'll invite you from the start of the summer to the end of the summer to see what's going on when we make the oldest boulevard in Romania and Bucharest. We make it pedestrian, and you'll see it's amazing. Imagine 4 months of a festival on foot. You have dancing people from theaters on the street. You have orchestras in a corner. You have bars in that other corner. You have everything that you can imagine by foot. And you have a children's zone where children can walk and do different activities. You have a sporting zone. Everything. Our new policy is simple. The central city should be for people, not for cars. So when we changed this policy 2 years ago, everybody saw the remarkable city.
One of the good things about being in this interview is we managed to disrupt Stelian's lunch plans, and his guest has had to come and join us instead. I'm just going to get him to introduce himself and tell us what he does.
My name is Bogdan Suditu. I'm the president of the Technical Commission of Urban Planning from Bucharest. I work very good with the mayor, the deputy mayor in the thematics of cities. I'm not born in Bucharest, but I'm very happy to live here.
So you're coming to a place like Bucharest, you're working with the authorities. How much is tourism part of your planning, your thinking, as opposed to making it a livable city for people from Bucharest?
I split my answer. First of all, tourism. It's very clear from everywhere in the world, in Europe, the tourism is an engine to change the place. If you want just to refurbish the building without a plan, without a direction, without future destination, tourism, it's very difficult. So I think the idea to refurbish the Jewish neighborhood, it's a very, very good idea. So I think it's time to explore this beautiful neighborhood and to rebuild the history, not only the building. Concerning the planning, yes, it's very, very important to think in parallel. Planning is not just the building, the streets, the place, it's also the economy, the people, the community.
Bucharest sits on the edge of the 27, now 26 countries of Europe. You're on the Middle East, you're on the Black Sea, you've got Russia, you've got North Africa. Where does Israel rate within the number of tourists coming to Bucharest? There are a lot of people that can access Bucharest. Where does Israel and its 9 million people rate in terms of numbers?
Well, this is a very good question, and I can tell you that it's on the top of our incomings here in Romania and in Bucharest. So this is a big thank you for this, and we're keen on making their stay even longer with new attractions and new sightseeing and new cultural destination. So you can stay in Bucharest 2 to 3 days, then go see the mountains, see the seaside, come back in Bucharest, have a good beer in the old center city, and then fly back. So we're making a city break, an extended city break. And if you're tired, go to a spa. You'll love it in Bucharest.
We want to thank you and all of your team. We've had some wonderful conversations, which we will continue to have with your staff as we try to tell the story of Bucharest. Vice Primar General Stelian Bujuveanu. Close?
Close.
Do it again. You say it.
Bujuveanu.
Bujuveanu. Okay.
It's okay.
You don't need all the letters that are in your name. You can miss half of them out. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming here. And don't forget, Bucharest is open for business, Bucharest is open for tourism, and it's open for everyone. Thank you.
We played the overture from the opera Barbiere di Siviglia by Rossini, but it was an arrangement made by Arnold Schoenberg for hands piano.
This is Adina Kokarjanu. She is a pianist. She works at the Bucharest Operetta and Musical Theatre after Ion Dacian. And I am Eitan Schmeisser. I am the artistic director of the Opera Națională Bucharest, the national opera here in Bucharest. And also we are a couple in life.
I was going to ask that because it's clear from your relationship as soon as one walks through the door that there was something more than music, but was it music that brought you together?
Yes, in a way, because I had a concert on the 8th of April. I also play the organ. So I was doing a concert at the French church here in Bucharest. He was supposed to have a rehearsal, which got cancelled. So he didn't know what to do. Then he remembered that about this concert, so he took a taxi and he came over there. So after the concert, we decided all the performers there to go to dinner, and we asked him if he wants to join us. So he joined us, and since then we have become inseparable.
Our listeners probably can't hear this because of the microphones, and we're in a soundproof room, but I can hear some beautiful operatic voices in the background.
There is a rehearsal room right above us, and there is a soprano who's now starting a rehearsal, warming up her voice.
We are at one of the rehearsal rooms of the Opera Theatre in Bucharest, and yeah, this is a working environment of some of the best operatic music in Romania in general, not just in Bucharest.
Since I've been here over the last 24 hours, I've seen national theatres, national opera houses. How much is traditional classical culture part and parcel of Bucharest?
It's a very big part of Bucharest. Usually the concert halls are full every week, every weekend, and it's very good for us. I mean, we have a lot of places where classical music is performed, and we're happy to see that people enjoys it and attends concerts in a very big number.
My first trip in the 1990s into Eastern Europe was to Budapest, and I remember there were tickets available that evening to go to the opera in Budapest, and it cost $1. Is the opera still very accessible and affordable in Bucharest?
Yeah, it is actually. Here in Europe, especially the Eastern Europe and the German countries, most of it is funded by the government, and it is like that in every major city, and not even the major cities, every city has an opera theater, even a prose theater, and more than one orchestra, all government and city funded, and it has very big implications of the cultural consumption here.
How does a nice Israeli boy such as yourself end up in Bucharest and in such an important position?
I'm not just Israeli. I was born in Israel, but both my parents were born in Romania. They both immigrated to Israel in the early 60s. Before they knew, of course, each other, they met each other in Israel, with a big immigration of Jewish families that was here in the days of the Communist Party, before the days of Ceausescu. I regained my Romanian citizenship back in 2019, when I was working already for almost 20 years in the Israeli Opera Tel Aviv as conductor, pianist, house conductor, chief of music department, and all other positions. And then I continued there until the pandemic. A lot of us artists had to do changes. Then in July 21 came the proposal here. Of course, I was very excited to do the interview, and then I was very excited to get accepted. It helped me and it enriched me not only in the artistic sense, but or very much in the personal sense.
I have a friend who has a Romanian background, and her sister, I think, is now a violinist with the Israeli Philharmonic, as well as accompanying Dudu Tassa. Is there some sort of link between Romania and Israel and music? Is there something specific about Romania that breeds all these great musicians?
In Israel, the second biggest community is Romanian, immigration-wise. The reservoir of talents that I meet here on a daily basis in Romania, not just in the opera house, is amazing. I haven't seen something like this anywhere in the world. The amount of talent here in singing, in playing, especially in violin and piano, is amazing. Obviously, there are a lot of cultural connections between our two countries, and I say our because I feel at home the same in Romania and in Israel.
We're a tourist podcast. What can people expect, say, over the next 12 months? I am assuming you know what's coming up. Tourists who maybe hadn't thought of coming to Romania, maybe haven't thought of coming to Romania for the cultural experience. What would you invite them to hear and see over the next year or so?
If someone is interested in cultural area, they can come, of course, here at the Opera House, at the National Operetta and Musical Theater. We have, where I work, we have a very nice repertoire, but unfortunately it is sang in Romanian because it also has the spoken text. But we have super titles, so it's not a problem. There's the National Drama Theater here, the Jewish Theater, and also with music. So it's very fun to watch their pieces over there. And of course the Philharmonic, the National Radio Orchestra. We have also early music festival with guests from abroad, with period instruments playing Baroque and early music, which is very, very interesting and fun to watch.
And there are two major events specifically in the next year. In the middle of June 23, there will be here in the National Opera Bucharest regional big opera festival, which will premiere operas performed not only by the Bucharest National Opera, but opera houses from Sofia and from other places. And our theater will present a new production which was premiered before us only in Israel by the great great opera director, Sir David Pountney. And then in August and September, there is the big international UNESCO festival, which hosts 50, if I'm not mistaken, of the best ensembles in the world, starting from orchestras like the Israeli Philharmonic Orchestra with Lav Shani conducting, the London Symphony Orchestra with Sir Simon Rattle conducting, and a lot of great artists from Europe. All the biggest orchestras are coming to perform here in Bucharest. It is held once in 2 years, and it's one of the biggest festivals in Europe.
Adina, Eitan, thank you very much indeed for the interview. Thank you for the way that you look at each other because it's beautiful. And thank you for the way that you play.
Thank you so much. Adina, thank you for joining me here.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. And I hope you will enjoy your time here.
Come to Bucharest, enjoy not only the culture, enjoy the food, enjoy the weather, enjoy the people, which are warmest, and great hospitality here. I will be happy to see you.
Bucharest Fact File. Bucharest Henry Coanda International Airport has no direct flights to the US, but can be reached directly via most major European hubs. The 2.5-hour flight from Tel Aviv can be made with Arkia, El Al, High Sky, Ryanair, Tarom and Wizz Air. Bucharest North Railway Station is accessible from the airport by train 24 hours a day. The journey takes 25 minutes. Bus 783 takes around 40 minutes from the airport to the city centre. A 3-day integrated transport pass costs around 40 lei or $8.50. We stayed at the Novotel city centre. Bucharest has many 5-star hotels including the Marmaris Autograph, JW Marriott Grand, Radisson Blu, Hilton Athene Palace, Epoch, Suter Palace and Sheraton. $100 will buy you 465 Romanian new lei as of December 2022. Bucharest has a temperate climate similar to the northeastern United States with 4 distinct seasons. A highly recommended site to visit is the National Museum of Contemporary Art. Israeli chef Joseph Haddad has 2 main restaurants in Bucharest, Kaju and Mace by Joseph Haddad. Kosher restaurants in Bucharest include Bereshit, Moise and Avraham.
Well, that was rather nice.
Fab.
And we got to keep our shorts on.
It makes a change, doesn't it? Well, first of all, you forgot your swimming trunks in the hotel room, and then you didn't have any flip-flops or any other shoes that you could wear in a very wet space.
I got nice ones, though.
Beautiful. Did you keep them? We gave them back.
I gave them back.
Oh,
Someone else can have my bunions.
Good boy. It was great. Therme.
Oh, nicely pronounced.
Hopeful.
Spelled Therme.
Highly, highly recommended. If you're visiting Bucharest, or the organisation, the company, is expanding all across Europe with its, what do you call it? You call it a spa? You call it a swimming area?
I think it was a bit of everything. It had 3 zones. You had like your Waterworld zone. You had your luxury swimming pool zone, complete with swim-up bars and lots of hot spas outside.
You know what? It was almost like the type of thing that you'd expect on a cruise.
Other than the fact that the place wasn't moving.
No, but you know where you go on some of these fancy cruises and you get things that are, wow, I didn't expect that. So like a bar in the middle of a swimming pool.
And then there was the adult pampering zone, which contained 6 sauna rooms and spa rooms and a la carte restaurant.
Hollywood sauna, where you can watch movies in a sauna.
Himalayan salt sauna.
It was definitely a very broad experience. So it's not aiming at one clientele, but a whole crowd. Very young crowd mainly, but some older folks our age and even older than us, if that is possible wandering around. The changing rooms were immaculate, really, really clean. There were cleaners there the whole time that we were. Very warm welcome from the staff. People were very friendly. It was a really great experience.
I just wish we'd have had a bit longer, really.
One experience that I really enjoyed, there's a revolving door, but it's only half-height revolving door. It sort of starts around your belly button and goes up to your head, and it takes you from the indoor part of the pool to the outdoor part of the pool, which is slightly hotter, especially because we're there in the winter, and as a result of this hot water outside, you get a mist forming above, and it's almost like foggy, and if you're wearing glasses in the water, you'd have to sort of You don't know what to say, do you?
I don't know how to follow up a noise like that.
It's David and his noises.
I've been to parks in Europe and in England before where you have like an indoor swimming area and then chalets off there. They're called centre parks. But this was a whole new level. The place can take up to 10,000 people a day. There are 500 staff.
How many plants did they say? Was it 80,000 plants? It was a crazy number. Palm trees, all natural. And this is another important thing. If you want to support somewhere that is environmentally friendly, then this place really takes that side of things very seriously. It has a very high LEED recommendation, which is this
platinum. Was it
platinum?
Platinum LEED?
Which is a way of measuring the sustainability, the contribution to the environment that companies make.
Strip, klezmerele skripen, spil afrele si der hipen, slajchtaje der pune findi, mehetun im zi der hipel o mirgein.
Klaffe wukerin die tanzen, fide sozies platzen, freilig zinnen alle hitno rondikal, si is moeilijkheid.
Skrip, klezmerele skripen.
There comes a time in every trip that we are getting to the end and it's sad and we don't want to go home.
And we buy souvenirs.
Well, we'll do that soon. You'll do that on the way to the airport. But to finish on an uplifting note is always a wonderful way to end a journey. And I think of all of the trips that we've made over the last year and a half, 2 years, this particular experience has been one of the most uplifting. There's this idea, especially in Israel, they talk a lot about a cup half full and a cup half empty.
Yeah, I dropped my cup and smashed it into little pieces.
It melted with all the alcohol that was in it. On a much more serious note, we've come to a wonderful place which in many ways sums up the history of the Jewish people of Bucharest. It also sums up the cultural heritage of this country. And as we've brought to you in this podcast and the previous podcast from Bucharest, so much heritage in art galleries, in opera, in theatre, and we're finishing with theatre.
On my experience of living in Israel in the last 12 years, the story that Israel sometimes likes to portray is Europe is an empty zone where Jews used to live. And it always fills my heart with joy when we can come into Europe and see places where Jewish life and Jewish culture still thrives, and this is exactly where we are now.
Hello, my name is Dragis George Marcel, and I'm still working in a Jewish theater which still lives here in Romania.
Hello, I'm Christina Mohan, and I'm in charge with communication in State Jewish Theater, also coordinating State Jewish Theater International Yiddish Theater Festival.
Forgive the question, and it's not one that I normally ask, but you're not Jewish, are you?
I look like a Jew. No, I am 1000% Romanian, but nobody is perfect. I am in love with Jewish people, with Jewish history, with Jewish culture.
No, I'm not. I'm not a Jewish.
So the next follow-up question would be, why are you working in the State Jewish Theatre in Bucharest?
It's a very difficult question and a very simple answer. Because when you hire and you go to a job, you just go there to make a job. But you start to love what you do and you become one with the job and you start to create more events and more things because you feel to be here. You feel it. This is your place and you have to be here and to create something, to keep on a tradition that you are maybe responsible for in the future.
Maybe the question can be why I'm still working in Jewish theater. During the years, I said to myself for many, many times, I will leave this place. Because it's like everybody, I was looking for some more money, a bigger salary. But I am still here after 22 years. The place accepted me. I love this place. I love my job. I love what I am doing. It is a place where I can meet people never in my life I was thinking to meet. People with no connection with this place, people with some roots in Romania. It's quite an amazing mixture of feelings which keep me still here.
Can you tell us about the history of the theatre, when it was opened? Why is there a Jewish theatre in Bucharest?
It started in 1941 with a moment when the Jewish actors they were not allowed to perform anymore in Romanian theatres. So they came nearby this place, thinking and trying to do what they knew the best, to act, with no job, with no money, with no place to do what they like to do. So in 1941 in February they start to act, to perform here in this place. After the end of the war and after the moment when the communists took the power, this place became what still it is now, State Jewish Theatre from Bucharest. It is a place where you can find, and we try to keep in life, Jewish Yiddish culture, Yiddish language, and why not a part of our cultural life, Romanian history, Romanian theatre.
Something we've learnt over our time here is that pre-war there were as many as 800,000 Jews in the country, down to 400,000 after the Holocaust. And today, as you were saying, somewhere between 2,000 and 9,000 people in the country are Jewish. 25% of what you produce in this theatre is Yiddish. Who is the audience? Who are the actors?
At least 25%. We are looking for more than this 25. It's a number, it's a figure, it's not specific this. The reason and for whom we are still acting, the main audience, the Jewish audience, is not so big. The reason is to keep in life Yiddish culture, Yiddish language, Yiddish theater. This place, it become like a shelter for this kind of culture, for this language. The people from whom we are acting, the new generation, to learn about a part of Romanian culture, because Yiddish culture, it's my opinion, it's part of Romanian culture, and the important actors of Romanian stage, they were Jewish.
There is this idea that Yiddish language is a dead language, that nobody speaks it and it will end very soon. But we try to prove that this is not the truth. Each year we organize here the International Yiddish Theatre Festival that brings actors and musicians that perform in Yiddish from all around the world. And due to this event and the success that it has from 8 years now, Romanian Parliament created the National Yiddish Theatre and Language Day. It's a national holiday here in Romania on the 30th of May.
It's important to say that in addition to the receipts from ticket sales and so on, that this particular theatre is supported by the municipality here. And also during our visit we heard about plans to invest in the Jewish quarter of the centre of Bucharest, and it's definitely a part and parcel of the bigger tourism plan and heritage plan for this city.
If our listeners wanted to see a production from this theatre company, do you ever tour, or do they have to come to Bucharest to see the theatre production?
We are ready to be everywhere where people are asking us. But we have to say all the time it's about money. If they ask us, we will come gladly everywhere in this world with our productions, with our actors. Our manager is open to show this place to as many people possible to show. So you can come, you can call us a few days before we're here.
You can find us on Facebook, State Jewish Theatre, and also on our website. All the time there will be somebody there asking you. Also you will find information in English language if it's of course more easier to receive every information there.
As David and I have travelled around, we've thought we were the funniest people ever, but it's been a real pleasure to meet the funniest double act in Bucharest here today.
But you know what they say, save the best for last, right?
You are too kind with us. We are doing our best to show this place. It's part of my life.
There is actually one secret from your experience here at State Jewish Theatre. And our secret is to be honest. To be honest and to like what you are doing. That's why maybe you enjoyed it so much.
Bucherin die tanzen, Fiedler Sozies platzen, Freilich sennen alle Gegner und die Kalle.
Well, that was rather fab.
What, the whole visit?
Yes. Well, not that I was here for the whole visit.
Well, as far as this podcast is concerned, you were here the whole time. But yeah, I did have a day extra. Seen a very different side of Bucharest to when we last came here 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, we turned left from the hotel instead of right this time.
Lots of culture, lots of history, wonderful buildings. And as you like to say, most important, the people were fantastic.
Lovely. And our last visit to the State Jewish Theatre of Bucharest, I think, really touched my heart and yours. I could see you almost crying at one point.
It was beautiful. And again, to see non-Jewish people caring so much. And in case you think it's only non-Jews who are running that place, the lead actors working in Yiddish are Jewish and are members of the community here in Bucharest.
The lead actor who once appeared in a film with Mel Gibson.
Indeed.
In fact, it was The Passion of the Christ.
We won't go there. Lots of thank yous for our trip. We'll start with the folks here in Bucharest and to the three ladies who accompanied us over these last few days, to Flori, Violetta and Maru, who is probably the happiest person on the planet.
She's happy we're leaving.
Thanks, ladies. And also to the folks in the Romanian embassy in Tel Aviv.
Yes, to Monica and Corina and Ambassador Radu for all their help in organising this trip.
Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Tarom. Yes.
And to the lovely people at the Novotel who hosted us.
Good stay. Anybody else we promised we'd say thank you to?
All the nice people that showed us around in various places.
Terrific stay. Please subscribe. Share this with all of your friends. If you've got destinations that you would like us to cover, let us know. If you happen to be from a tourism organisation and think that, hey, these guys really do a good job of promotion, then you can always reach out to us. Our email is markdavidpod@gmail.com and the social media @markdavidpod.
If you like this podcast or any of our other podcasts, remember to subscribe. There will be lots more coming as we travel the world and see stories, both Jewish and non-Jewish, about the various places that we go to.
More than 50 episodes now. It's amazing.
Yes, to 120, as they say.
As they like to say. Mark, quiz question.
Quiz question. Rather complicated question with a much easier answer. Andorra and Moldova have virtually identical flags, with crests in the middle being their only difference. They're very similar to the Romanian flag. But which African country has an almost identical flag to the current Romanian flag, which no longer has a crest in the middle? If you followed that question, give yourself a point anyway.
Why is it almost identical? They're the same flipping colours.
Well, in 1989, at the fall of communism, the state crest of Romania was removed from the flag. Beforehand, it looked more like Moldova. But the current Romanian flag no longer has a crest in the middle.
But why is it almost identical to the African one?
I haven't even given you which African one
I
it is
know,
yet.
but why is it almost identical?
Well, there's a slight difference in the shade of blue. Apparently 2 shades darker in the African one.
There you go. And the answer is?
What was the question again? It was so long ago. Chad.
Ah, okay. I wonder if... No.
I was going to say, what's the capital of Chad for a bonus?
Go on.
I don't know.
Oh, Mark, you know
I think
everything.
it's something like Njema or Njama.
Oh, is that Njema?
Yeah.
Is Chad? Okay, there you
If
go.
you're listening from the Chad Tourist Board and you want to play fun with flags...
have us come to your country. Folks, it's been amazing. We are very privileged and we understand that we are privileged to do this. We hope we bring you the pleasure. We thank you for listening to the episodes, the amazing feedback that you do or don't give us, and we'll see you the next time.
The only feedback I get is from my microphone.
Folks, thanks a lot. And we'll finish with our thanks to the national airline of Romania. You ready?
Tarom, 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 tarom.